In this video, we'll talk about the Linux bare metal restore feature in Carbonite Server Backup. If you're unfamiliar with the term, a bare metal restore, or BMR, is more comprehensive than a regular restore of data. Instead of just restoring data files to a pre-configured location with a working OS, a bare metal restore can restore an entire system, including the operating system and CSB agent software, to brand new or otherwise blank hardware. We'll demonstrate how to create a bare metal backup job for a Linux agent and restore that job to a new machine. But first, we'll cover some of the important prerequisites for using the Linux BMR functionality. We use a third-party tool to gather the necessary data for creating a custom ISO of your particular Linux distro.
This tool does not come bundled with the CSB Linux agent software and must be installed separately first before then installing the agent. You'll see the option to enable bare metal restores during the CSB Linux agent installation process. You must enable this, then enter the correct file path to the installation location of the third-party tool, and finish the agent installation normally.
You must also be using Portal version 8.85 or later.
The target system must have at least 4 GB of RAM, must have total disk capacity greater than or equal to the system being restored, and must be on a network that can reach the Carbonite vault.
You can find the full list of requirements in our online documentation. Okay, let's create a bare metal backup job for a Linux machine. Under the Computers tab in Portal, select a Linux agent. In the Jobs tab, click the Select Job Task dropdown, then click Create New Local System Job. The Create New Job pop-up will show right away. Under Select Files and Folders for Backup, you should see a Bare Metal Restore option. If you do not see this option, the prerequisites for Linux BMR backups are not met. Double-check your setup using the full list of requirements before retrying this step. Fill out the fields on the left side like you would any other backup job. Then select the Bare Metal Restore option here and click Include. This includes every part of the file system by default, but you do have the option to exclude folders from the backup if desired. To do this, expand the root folder below and select any subfolders that you don't want included in the Bare Metal backup. Then click the Exclude button, and you'll see the backup set on the right change accordingly.
When your configuration here is complete, click Create Job.
In a moment, your brand new bare metal backup set will appear.
You can modify the default schedule if you like, then click Save to complete the setup.
From here, it functions just like any other backup job. You can wait for it to run on schedule, or run it manually now. Once you have at least one full backup for this job, you can restore it whenever you need. The first step to restoring is creating a bootable USB stick using the boot ISO. The ISO is stored in the local drive of the system that's being backed up. If the system is still available, you could access it directly and create a bootable USB right from that machine. But what if it's crashed and unrecoverable?
In that case, you can retrieve your ISO using the Restore from Another Computer workflow, which we have documented in our user guides and support knowledge base. Once you have retrieved the ISO, you can use it to create a bootable USB drive and proceed to the next steps.
Insert the USB disk into the new hardware, power it on, and boot from the USB. For the purposes of this demo, we're using a virtual machine environment.
I'm going to overwrite my existing virtual machine by booting from the ISO file that's assigned to a virtual DVD drive.
This is essentially the same thing as inserting a bootable USB into a physical machine. When you boot the machine using the ISO, you'll see the interface from the third-party tool that was required when creating the bare metal backup to begin with. Highlight the top Recover option, then press Enter. After the initial boot, log in as root. There is no password. Now we'll set up the restore. As we progress through these screens, keep in mind that you can press the escape key to back up a screen if you make a mistake.
At this command line, enter ./BMR agent to proceed.
First, you'll enter the information for the vault that contains this agent's backed up data. After connecting, you'll see the list of agents backing up to this vault. Select the agent that you're performing a bare metal restore of. Then select the bare metal restore backup job. Then the safe set you'd like to restore. You'll need to enter the encryption password for this backup job again here.
And press the left or right arrow key to change the confirm value to yes.
And finally, you'll address the disk partitions here. If the partitions on the disk you're restoring to don't match the partitions in the backup set, you can use the tool to set those partitions now. Otherwise, you can skip this step. From here, the recovery tool will mount your newly created disk and perform the rest of the bare metal restore automatically. This can take a while depending on the size of the backup set, but all you have to do is let it run.
When complete, you can reboot the Linux machine to get it back up and running, and the CSB backups will resume normally.